Strike up a conversation with your average man or woman about the fascinating, gripping world of physics or chemistry, and you're bound to get a blank stare in return. Those of us not in the scientific world avoid those subjects like the plague in our undergraduate years, and I expect many of us in or working toward careers in science only grudgingly accept them as a means to an end. So no, I think it's fair enough to say that most science topics don't make the best icebreakers. Genetics, on the other hand, is often a completely different story. Genetics fascinates and intrigues us, but why? Simply put, the genetic revolution started 60 years ago by two men has changed the daily lives of people forever and continues to do so. Medical applications have increased rapidly, and the exploration and manipulation of our genomes has raised serious ethical concerns. Well, to really explore this, we need to travel back in time, all the way back to the 1950s, to the lab with Watson and Crick. We wish to suggest a structure for DNA. This structure has novel features which are of considerable biological interest. These were the opening words to James Watson and Francis Crick's famous 1953 paper, and boy was that the truth or what. But I'm getting ahead of the game here. Who were these guys, Watson and Crick, and why are they important? Often known as the fathers of modern genetics, these two men came from completely different backgrounds to form what has been called by contemporary heroes and heroines a discovery just as important as Darwin's natural selection or Einstein's theory of relativity. Crick was British, the son of a struggling shoemaker. He studied math and science in school before leaving to join the military, working in one of the research labs developing magnetic mines. Across the pond, James Watson was, according to biology author Richard Robinson, something of a child prodigy, graduating from college at only 19. Before long, the two men found themselves collaborating together on a research topic that had long interested them both: the mechanism for how genetic traits are passed from one generation to the next. What happens next is well known. Watson, upon seeing an X-ray photograph by two other researchers, instantly deduced the simple double helical structure of DNA, and the world of science and medicine has never been the same since. Well, all this sciencey talk is all well and good, but what does genetics mean to you, me, and the rest of the world? Well, quite a lot, actually. Old Francis Crick died in 2004. He lived more than long enough to see the effect that he and his collaborators' research had on the world. While Crick was busy doing research away from DNA, in neurobiology and the science of sleep and dreaming, genetics didn't just sit still. Years of investigation gave researchers a clearer understanding of the science, but it also became useful in practical ways too. We use genetics to develop insulin for those suffering from diabetes. It tells us things as simple but vitally important as who's a good blood donor match. And it's given us a great understanding and management of diseases that were once a complete mystery. The genetics effect on medicine doesn't end there. In fact, many believe it's barely begun. Genetics is the core of personalized medicine, a tailored approach to healthcare that emphasizes the individual on the basis of his or her genetic makeup. According to the journal article, The Path to Personalized Medicine in the New England Journal of Medicine, the authors claim that we may already be in the early days of this type of care. Already tests exist that can give patients a pretty good idea of whether they are likely candidates for everything from Huntington's to heart disease. In a more recent example, a simple genetic test can tell patients which of them would be most likely to respond positively to an anti-cancer drug. Gene therapy has even been making a comeback in the last couple of years. Gene therapy is just basically the insertion of functional genes to replace faulty ones that may be causing disease in people. But it's had a kind of a rocky start. In the late 90s, some couple of botched experiments led to the death of some patients. So it's kind of had a bad stigma. But as Galsham Naik of the Wall Street Journal writes, there's fresh new enthusiasm for this experimental technique. After gene therapy helped cure children of genetic blindness, helped slow the progression of a fatal brain disease in one patient, and even one man was almost cured of thalassemia, a debilitating disease that causes early death because of the body's inability to produce effective red blood cells. So clearly, if this is the present, the future of genetics in medicine is bright indeed. So wherever genetics goes, a strong ethical debate is sure to be found close behind. James Watson himself was ridiculed in 2007 for making racist comments on the basis towards people of African descent on the basis of their genetic makeup. In a striking bit of irony, Watson soon after discovered that he was in fact part black. But even still, even though those comments were obviously untrue, genetics has had its criticisms from the beginning. People have called attention to concerns of playing God, tampering with things that we don't fully understand the full implications of yet. Henry Greeley of Stanford University points out that an individual's genome is unique. It's a person's essence. That it is potentially immortal, at least in the sense of the information it carries. Well, he makes this interesting comparison that these are all characteristics of the Christian soul. Well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I think my genome is quite as sacred as my soul, but I do agree that genetics does raise some interesting questions. Laura Briggs and Judy Kilbert-Hay, they say that our culture can and does question whether gayness or violence can be genetic. These are obviously unproven ideas and highly debatable, but imagine a future in which parents could plan to terminate a pregnancy based on their child's possible sexual orientation. But even today, less theoretical questions exist, as shown in the aptly titled journal article, Ethical Issues in Genetic Medicine. So let's say a patient, for example, is high risk for genetic disorder because one of their relatives has the disorder. Is it breaking the code of doctor-patient confidentiality to inform that patient without the relative's consent, or is it the doctor's obligation to inform that patient? Good question. Another example, one of the genetic tests shows the father of a patient to be actually not the biological father. Is it withholding relevant information to keep one or both parents in the dark about this? The last example sounds kind of like a soap opera, but these things can and do actually happen with alarming frequency, and these questions need to be considered as genetics continues to play an important role in our daily lives. So there's no question about it. Genetics is not only here to stay, but it's also one of the fastest growing scientific fields around. It's created countless innovations in medicine. It has, and the sequencing of our genome in the early 2000s means there is more to come in the future. Personalized medicine, as mentioned earlier, is thought to become the norm in the years to come, which means that ethical concerns in medicine are only going to be more important in the future. So whether it's something as crazy as cloning an extinct animal, the exciting possibilities of gene therapy, or even genetic engineering, everybody seems to have something to say about the science that helps explain who we are and how we got here. Watson and Crick weren't the first people to come up with the concept of genetics, but they, like others before them, showed that the simplest answer is often the right one, and how the entire course of the future can be changed with the answer of one simple question.